Evidence of aircrafts are also found in the Arthasastra written by Kautilya, also known by the name Chanakya or Vishnugupta. Kautilya mentions various tradesmen and technocrats, the Saurabhakas, as the pilots conducting vehicles in the sky. Saurabha was the name of the aerial flying city of King Harishchandra. The word Saurabhaka also translates to one who flies or knows the art of flying an aerial city. They have a specific noun in their vocabulary for these beings, which are able to fly not just everyday craft, but huge massive behemoths as well. Would an aerial city using today's terminology be translated as a kind of giant mothership from space? Were the Saurabhaka pilots actually the captains of these huge vessels arriving from space? The Kautilya Veda uses another significant word, akasayodhina, which has been translated as persons who are trained to fight from the sky. The Academy of Sanskrit Research in Melkote, near Mandya, were commissioned by the Aeronautical Research Development Board in New Delhi to perform a one-year study of non-conventional approach to aeronautics. Among many interesting discoveries from this work was a form of ancient stealth technology. It was documented that Professor Dongre of the Benares Hindu University used the ancient texts to create a glass-like material which he was able to apply like a film of paint on an aircraft. Once coated with this unique material, it cannot be detected using radar. A reference to our very own stealth technology only thousands of years earlier. In the many Vedas, there are various accounts of the Vimanas' different engine types. They cover some basic detail of their components and fuel with levels of heat dissipation needed to fly them. There's a hidden clue in the 190th verse of the Rig Veda. It mentions that flying machines operated when the power of the sun's rays, Mercury, and another chemical called Naksharasa were mixed together. This energy was, it seems, stored in some kind of large capacitor or storage batteries. The Vedas suggest some engines also utilize electricity. Many scholars who study this detail refer to this drive system as a Mercury vortex engine. It seems the complete knowledge to allow this engine to function was removed from the Sanskrits. Researchers claim this was to prevent it being used for evil or immoral purposes. Have NASA studied the ancient verses and used it to create their ion thruster engines we see in modern spacecraft? Perhaps we will never know. If ion thrusters were indeed used in ancient times, they were probably a secondary power source, not the main rocket-launching thruster. Although ion thrusters are capable of producing some thrust for a very long time, they lack the necessary power needed to propel a craft into space. Current usage is more limited to repositioning our satellites floating in space around Earth's orbit. NASA's advanced, more powerful ion and plasma thrusters are used in spacecrafts for interplanetary missions to this day. They are more effective once the craft is already in the weightlessness of space. Given the similarities, some researchers suggest that the Mercury engines found in the ancient Sanskrits are the forerunner for our modern advanced ion thrusters we use today. The incredible story of Shivkar Babuji Talpade and his Marutsika Vimana. Way back in 1895, as the sun began to fade on the Talpade beach in Mumbai, India, a momentous occasion was taking place. Although some 8 years before the Wright brothers flew through the air, Talpade and his wife gave a thrilling demonstration of their recreated Vimana taking flight. Built after years of research technology from the Vedas, and the many Vimana references in the Vimānika Shastra texts, translated as a science of aeronautics. This amazing flying creation was called the Marutsika Vimana. It was documented that Talpade's unmanned Vimana flew for 20 minutes to a height of 1,500 feet on that hot summer evening, much to the amusement of hundreds of bewildered and cheering crowds, eventually descending to a heavy landing. However, back in 1895 this event was unheard of. After witnessing this magical display, the revered Indian historian Evan Koshtka went on record to suggest that perhaps Talpade was actually the first creator of a truly functioning flying aircraft. Since his childhood, Talpade had always dreamed of flying in the sky and exploring space. He was a greatly respected Sanskrit researcher, passionately committed to the Vedas. What was this powerful ion engine he somehow created? Did he decode the clues from the Sanskrits to perfect his own Mercury vortex engine? The Indologist William Clarendon compiled a detailed description of a Mercury vortex engine in his translation of another Hindu sacred book named the Samaranga Sutradhara. Let us share with you a quote from one of his translated works. Inside the circular air frame, place the Mercury engine with its solar Mercury boiler at the aircraft's center. By means of the power latent in the heated Mercury, which sets the driving whirlwind in motion, a man sitting inside may travel a great distance in a most marvelous manner. 4 strong Mercury containers must be built into the interior structure. When these have been intensely heated from solar or other sources, the Vimāna develops thunder power through the Mercury. The Indologist William Clarendon compiled a detailed description of a Mercury vortex engine in his translation of another Hindu sacred book named the Samaranga Sutradhara. Let us share with you a quote from one of his translated works. Inside the circular air frame, place the Mercury engine with its solar Mercury boiler at the aircraft's center. By means of the power latent in the heated Mercury, which sets the driving whirlwind in motion, a man sitting inside may travel a great distance in a most marvelous manner. 4 strong Mercury containers must be built into the interior structure. When these have been intensely heated from solar or other sources, the Vimāna develops thunder power through the Mercury. It's just fascinating to read these ancient accounts documented thousands of years ago, especially when we begin to compare the descriptions with some of our technology we are creating today. NASA began working on Mercury ion engines in the 1960s. It makes us question, was there some incredible technology back in antiquity, the kind to make such an impression that it was documented in the Vedas to record these events, perhaps even to bear witness to the ancient visitors who brought these marvels with them? Could the Sanskrit accounts be based on nothing but imagination and dreams? There are so many compelling examples that it's hard to dismiss them when we revisit them with today's knowledge. NASA's Mercury ion engine. Ion propulsion technology began initial development when Dr. Harold Kaufman designed and built the first broadbeam electron bombardment ion engine in 1959. Laboratory tests were promising enough to begin suborbital test flights in the early 1960s. By 1964, an ion engine was launched on the rocket SERT-1. It operated for 31 minutes before successfully returning to Earth. In 1970, SERT-2 launched with 2 modified ion engines. They operated for nearly 3 months and 5 months respectively. In 1998, Deep Space One was the first interplanetary spacecraft using an ion engine. Its successful missions heralded a new age of ion-propelled spacecraft. Whether NASA utilized research and technology from the ancient Veda texts has never been confirmed. Were they part of the inspiration to kickstart the development? Do these ancient writings add more evidence to the idea of alien visitations in our ancient past? What was this wonderful technology described so frequently in the ancient Indian Sanskrits? Who were these beings who introduced this technology to us thousands of years ago? Here ends our presentation on the fascinating ancient Vimanas. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and share where possible. It really helps us reach more people and grow the channel. It would be greatly appreciated if you would subscribe and click the bell icon. Then you'll know when we release new presentations.